Hi, Stuart Talley here to do another update on the Pinnacle metal-on-metal hip trial that's currently ongoing in Dallas, Texas. Today I wanted to talk about the testimony that was provided at the trial from an individual named Andrew Ekdahl. Mr. Ekdahl was the CEO of DePuy during the time period that the Pinnacle was released to the public and for much of the time period at issue in this litigation. Mr. Ekdahl was asked extensively about some of the advertising that DePuy issued for their Pinnacle metal-on-metal hip cases. And one of the items that shows up in a lot of the advertising is a claim that DePuy made that at 5 years, the Pinnacle had a 99.9% survival rate. There's a reference in the advertising to something called the PIN study. And the PIN study was a study that was done to examine the survival rate of DePuy metal-on-metal Pinnacle hips. During cross-examination of Mr. Ekdahl, it came out that there was something unusual about the PIN study. And the plaintiffs were making the argument that that reference and that statistic that was used in the advertising over and over again was misleading because of the way the PIN study was conducted. The PIN study was a study where DePuy went and looked at revision rates from individuals who put in metal-on-metal Pinnacle hips, and they determined what percentage of those hips had been revised and what percentage were surviving at 5 years. But the way they did this study was different than the way most studies are done. For purposes of determining whether a hip was revised, they used a definition of revision that included or only encompassed situations where the cup was removed. So if somebody had a metal-on-metal Pinnacle put in, had problems with it, and the surgeon went in and took the cup out and put a new cup in, that was considered a revision. However, with Pinnacle metal-on-metal hips, that is rarely the way they are revised. In most cases, the surgeon will go in and instead of taking the cup out, he'll replace the metal liner that's inside the cup with a plastic liner and then replace the ball on the top of the stem. That's how most Pinnacle revisions are done. And so during the cross-examination, there was a lot of discussion about what the word Pinnacle meant in the advertisements. The advertisement talked about the Pinnacle system, but Mr. Ekdahl continually argued that the only Pinnacle was the cup. And so his definition of Pinnacle as used in the advertisement meant the cup. So he was trying to argue that the advertisements weren't misleading because the statistics only referred to the cup, not the entire system. So that was a big bone of contention during the cross-examination of Mr. Ekdahl. I think overall the testimony went well for the plaintiffs. However, there will be a chance for DePuy to rehabilitate Mr. Ekdahl on what we call recross or redirect, where his attorneys will ask him questions about the advertising. So that's where we are with Mr. Ekdahl. There was also some discussion about what's called the Deferred Prosecution Agreement. During the trial, the plaintiffs have brought up on multiple occasions an agreement that DePuy entered with various governmental entities that they would not pay what the plaintiffs refer to as kickbacks to doctors for using their products. There was allegations at one point in time that DePuy was paying kickbacks that were described as consulting agreements or various other types of agreements in order to encourage or get doctors to use their products. And there was regulatory agencies looked at this and they eventually entered this agreement, DePuy did, that they wouldn't pay these kickbacks anymore. There was a lot of discussion about that from the plaintiff's side, and in response, DePuy moved for a mistrial, arguing that evidence of this deferred prosecution agreement wasn't relevant and that it was prejudicial, and it was an effort to make DePuy look bad when there was no actual allegations that any of the doctors involved in the plaintiff's surgeries were receiving kickbacks of any kind. The motion for mistrial was denied by the judge, and this motion for mistrial, this I think was the third or fourth one that's been made in the trial. All of them have been denied. So if you have a Pinnacle metal on metal hip and you want some more information about the case, how it's going, feel free to give us a call. You can reach us at the phone number on the screen or fill out one of our online forms on our website and someone will get right back to you.